Okay, I'm going to start my analysis with the 5 horses coming out of the Derby. Always Dreaming. Let me pull this view's a little better. Hints came out of the Derby. Classic Empire. Gunnevera. And Looking at Lee came in second. So I'm going to start with the heavy favorite, Always Dreaming. I've watched every one of his races, rewatched them, and I'll just go from the bottom up so we can kind of get the history of Always Dreaming coming into the Preakness. I was wrong. I tried to beat him in the Derby based on poor workout, just basically media hype where they said he was really rank in the morning. It talked a lot of people off of him. So let's move forward. I think I've learned my lesson. And so anyway, I think everything starts with him. He's the heavy favorite. His maiden special weight. Now this was before Todd Pletcher took over. Todd Pletcher took over here down in Tampa. So he was in Saratoga and Belmont. Can't really remember the name of his previous trainer. I'll just review some of my notes here. There was one next out winner. Threw a 75 bar on the turf. Nothing too tough. Was wide, traveled 19 feet, pretty fast fractions, and he was up on it. It's definitely a sprint race, 5.5 furlongs compared to the longer distances that he's thrived at. You can see broke his maiden at 8.2 furlongs. He almost got up here. He was the favorite in both races. Ran 14 feet further than the winner. So it was slower than normal early pace, faster and late. One next out winner. He was sent hard out of the gate by Joe Bravo with early whipping, which is usually never a good sign, but it happens occasionally when jockeys are trying to get position early. And he wasn't as fast as early as he is other sprinters. So right here they took some time off. Todd Pletcher took over. So you can see better in these running lines down here. Previous trainer was this guy, Shanetto. So Todd Pletcher took over, and you can see he had a 65 rating as far as strength of trainer compared to Todd Pletcher, who's a 100. Obviously a much better trainer. He was an expensive horse, $350,000, so they're ready to start winning. Can't blame them. So they move him over here where he obviously caught a very soft field under Todd Pletcher. A $21,000 maiden special weight. Very slow early fractions. So he, I think the term is horrified this group. Beat him by 11.5 links. Let's see, 20 set. I beat some serious dogs here. Yeah, I think he had a 40-point advantage over the field, and the rest were first-time starters, so that was just kind of like a paid workout. So then Todd brings him over to Gulfstream Park 38 days later, and this is on an optional claimer, $75,000. What's interesting on this same day that Always Dreaming ran in this, it was the first race of the day at Gulfstream. This is the same day as the Holy Bull where Gunnevera wins later in the card. So, sometimes trainers will jump right from maiden special weight into a grade 1. Thankfully, he didn't do that. He did catch a super slow pace in this race. So that's why it was hard to gauge. You can tell from his early pace figures he was a 76, a 58, but then he really turned it on late to 1012. And what I should have noticed before is that, that's a really good characteristic to have in a Derby horse. We want a horse that can kind of shut himself down early and then kick it on late like he did here. He did have a 20-point Bauer advantage over this field and had a super slow pace. No next out winners. Tight hold early, but he showed the ability to slow himself down and conserve energy, which is very important. So he's started to show himself as being a push-button horse, what I consider to be similar to California Chrome, how he could rate off the early speed and then kick it in when asked. And that's what you have to be to win the Kentucky Derby and other Triple Crown races. So he threw a 71 Bauer. Andy Bauer was still not sold on him because of that slow early pace, which, that's acceptable. 84 Brisnet. I'm not going to worry about Thorograph. So, and then, okay, so he takes off 28 days. Gunnevera won on this same day. Comes in here to the Florida Derby. He's facing Gunnevera and Irish Warcry, I believe. Let me pull this up. So this is a nice feature in Trackist. And then you click on race number 14 to pull up him. Okay, State of Honor, Gunnevera. So no, Irish Warcry was not in this race. 3 rules set the pace along with whoever this impressive edge. But and State of Honor went on to race in the Derby. So he had kind of a similar trip. All right, so I'll just review my notes. Soft trip, sitting behind a stablemate. One next out winner, the 87, who was, let's just pull this up. So here's Always Dreaming. This was his race before the Derby, in the Florida Derby. Next out winner through an 87. Whoever this guy is, Quintos, through an 87. So I'm not too worried about. But, in his next race he threw a 102. Gunnevera came in here as the heavy favorite based on his 97 Bauer in the Holy Bull, where he got a perfect setup with a very hot pace early. Got bet down to $1.10. And Always Dreaming went off second pick. He had some very good workout reports coming into this race and a lot of hype, and he lived up to it. So as you can see, these blue lines mean it was an extraordinary slow pace in that allowance. So in the Florida Derby, we've got no blues here, which means, and I like to look at multiple sources of data. And if they all match up, then I can have more confidence. Try to see what the other one I'll look at are the Moss pace figures, which show that it was just average. You can see average early, average mid, average late. So this was just it was a average race. The pace didn't collapse. It didn't set up for closers. Okay, I'm looking at Quintos. Let me go back to Always Dreaming. Okay. So, here we go. The race shape. Clocker said he looked awesome coming into this race. He was ready to roll indeed. Very confidently handled. Jonathan Kitchen loved him, who I respect. So yeah, and the DRF Clocker reports are awesome. Mike Welch and his team can't work without him. Should listen to him in Derby, where he gave Always Dreaming an A-, where everybody else, like Bruno for the Works and several other, were flipping out, on Always Dreaming's behavior. But this is we'll put that behind us. So it was an average pace. Gunnevera came in here the delta, which tells you how wide the horse was, and you can see State of Honor, he beat him by 6 lengths. State of Honor was saved 20 feet less, and Gunnevere was 9 feet. So he basically dominated. Very confidently handled. Yeah, he just, I think the notes say, as the rider pleased. Go slow early, which is why I have to take that. There's a HD replay, which I subscribe to Equibase, so I can watch the replays over here just by clicking on them. Video quality is decent. It's not the greatest in the world.
Gunnevere and Javier Castellano to the outside.
Just briefly review this race.
And they're off in the Florida Derby.
Always dreaming
From
in the
rail,
yellow.
State of Honor gets the first call from the far outside. It's 3 rules showing speed. Impressive Edge comes away in the top flight, and Always Dreaming will work between horses. Then back at the inside to Charlie the Greek, followed by Kinientos. There are 2 lengths in front of Talk Logistics. Stretch of 2.5 more to Coleman Rocky. Settling in second last is Unbridled Holiday, and Javier Castellano and the favorite Gunnevere last of the 10, and about 10 lengths off the lead of 3 rules. It's 3 rules who goes into the backstretch working on a 1.25 length lead, with Always Dreaming in the 2-path flanking the leader in second. Down inside it's State of Honor, who's now third. From the outside, Impressive Edge is fourth. Kinientos between horses is fifth. Down at the inside, Charlie the Greek races from sixth. Talk Logistics is seventh.
So right there you can see that John Velasquez has him under a pretty tight hold, rating him pretty nicely under some pretty, average fractions for the distance.
For Joe Bravo and 6 lengths behind, a stretch of 3.5 to Coleman Rocky.
Gunnevere, who he's going to face in the Preakness today, is off the screen way back, dead last.
Vera's out of last place, and the trailer is Unbridled Holiday. They make their way down the backstretch now in the 2017 Florida Derby. Up front, 3 rules to the half-mile pole with a 1.5 length lead. Always Dreaming getting a bit closer from second. Impressive Edge and State of Honor third and fourth. Talk Logistics has moved up to be fifth. Then Kinientos. The favorite Gunnevere is getting going, but he's still a long way behind. Better than 10 lengths off the lead with less than 3 furlongs to run. 3 rules. The Florida Stallion Series champion has the lead by a length. Always Dreaming asked to quicken by Johnny V second. Up on the outside, it's Impressive Edge third. State of Honor, he has horse but needs some place to go from fourth. Gunnevera's into fifth, but still a long way off the lead.
So right there, John's very confident, looking under his shoulders. These other guys are scrubbing and just trying like crazy to keep up, but he's just under a hand rod.
And the lead is now held by Always Dreaming.
Right here he asked him.
Set down for the drive by John Velasquez, and he's moving away. State of Honor is up into second, and Impressive Edge.
That's Gunnevere right there.
Too late, but inside the 16th pole, the 2017 Florida Derby to Todd Pletcher, and Always Dreaming. They won it by 4 in the end. Second, State of Honor.
Yeah, so he dominated this group. There's let me try to pull up the comment line. I like reading the charts to okay, equal to okay, here it is. Pulled away to clear lead with amount of victory determined by the rider. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool comment, and I think it's true. I mean, he basically dominated this group. So that was coming into the Derby. Let's see how he performed in the Derby, but I'm pretty sure we all know. He won, paid a nice $4.70. This dark C means it was a closer favoring Flow, according to Pace Ace, which is interesting in DRF. The figures show +7 means it's +7 faster than normal. So you can see it's fast early, average mid, slow late. Same thing comes through in the Timeform US. They coded it in red. So that shows it was a fast pace there. And then my final check that I like to use as far as If I can pull it over here. Jesus. There it is. Alright. These little, I think they're called first call, second call, race call positions in Brisnet. And +8 means it was a faster than normal pace. -2 means slower than normal. You can see it's pretty accurate. It showed how slow this that optional claimer was. And these early pace figs and late pace figs are very helpful as well. So, got that. And the Kentucky Derby. Another feature. This is a handy feature in the advanced tools, is using Preakness to pull up this information. I've got hot links to everything to speed up the process. So you go to race 12. We can see here this is how the race unfolded. Always Dreaming went to a nice easy lead. So said it was pretty hot fractions. Now he did save all the ground in this race. The only horse that didn't cover more ground than him was Looking at Lee, who made an amazing trip up the rail to close into this pace under Corey Lannery. Classic Empire covered 75 feet more, and 8 feet is equivalent to a length. So I put about 9 lengths. Now, granted, he got beat almost 9 lengths, but still given a better trip, that kind of shows you that Classic Empire has the potential to be right there, especially if he can get back to the form he was in when he won the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now that's a question mark, and it looks like he's going to go off about 5-2 in the Preakness. But I'll address him later as far as what I think of him. Here's the notes. He earned the 102 Beyer, which I've heard people say that in this type of race it's more of a class rating than a speed figure, which I can accept. I've already talked about the pace, but the fact that he was up on the pace does flatter him. He was you always want to give a horse a little extra credit when they're on a hot pace and they don't fade away. Now right here, when he made this move and Johnny V ducked him to the outside of State of Honor on the backstretch, that was the key move right there, and he was ready to go. He took over the lead at that point. And what was impressive is then he kind of humiliated him. I won't replay the entire video because it'll take too long, but I'll just show that it's going to be hard not to pick him. He's looks like a very legitimate favorite. It doesn't look like a speed duel is going to materialize like it did for Nyquist last year, where there was tons of early speed signed on. This is number 4. This is what Always Dreamin' drew coming into this race. Number 10 is Conquest Mo Money, and number 2 is Cloud Computing. 5 is Classic Empire. So I'm going to dig into the new shooters next in a next update, but for now I'm just sticking with the Derby guys. Bullet to my head, if I had to pick a winner right now, I'd go with the favorite, Always Dreaming.